We requested COMELEC for an extension, and the COMELEC met in bank, and they decided that we could not extend absentee voting registration anymore because they could not extend it because there was also no extension for registration of the voters who were registering in the Philippines. So I think they did not want to show any favor for overseas voters as opposed to local voters. There were deadlines to be met, and according to the officials of COMELEC, they needed some lead time to prepare for the entire list of the final list of voters, and under the Omnibus Election Code, they needed at least 150 days before the elections within which to put up a final listing. So if there had been an extension, they would not have had enough time to prepare that. So there was no extension. But even without the extension, I think that for all intents and purposes, the target of 1 million has been more or less reached. The deadline has already been reached. The final day was October 31, and it cannot be extended anymore because the extension should have been granted before the last day. And COMELEC saw fit not to extend both for domestic and for overseas voting. Yes, well, this time around there was really a concerted effort on the part of our posts to really go out and get the Filipinos to register. We used all kinds of connections with media, with the Filipino community, with the Filipino associations, with media both local and overseas. And more importantly, of course, there was a very, very strong cooperative relationship between the COMELEC and the DFA. Renewed sense of awareness of our Filipinos overseas who realized that they were taking part in a very important political exercise.
So
all of this have brought the figures to almost double the last one, and I think the significant figures are that this year's figures have surpassed the figures of last elections, 2010. Why is this significant? Because normally the figures for a senatorial election are lower than the figures for registration of a presidential election. The figures of the presidential election of 2010 has been breached, and we have surpassed that during the senatorial election. And also, an important milestone is the fact that the highest figure that we have ever registered for new registrants was the very first one in 2004, which registered 364,000 new registrants. Those were the first registrants for overseas absentee voting. We have also surpassed that. We have now surpassed the 364, which was the first registration for new voters. So we have surpassed the record for new voters. We also have surpassed the record for total number of voters, including the previous ones whose name remains in the list of voters. Because even if you don't register in an election, let's say for 2013, if you register in the past election, your name remains. And that's why the new registrants, which I said has just breached 364,000, which was the old record. You add that to the stock number of registrants in the past elections, and that's why we have reached 960,000 plus, and almost 1 million. And was that the social media would have a far more expansive reach than normal media, especially because of the I guess the popularity and the availability to many more people, and we tried to get in touch with all our assets, and we told them to use social media, and it became a little bit informal because it was no longer too much the appeal to one's love of country and patriotism, which was the normal approach before. You want to be involved in Philippine politics, do this, do that. In the approach to social media, we were more down to earth and just saying, in the vernacular, we said, kasali kayo dito. You are part of this this effort to register and to let your voice count. And of course, given would be, of course, the political implications, the patriotism involved, the love of country involved, and the fact that they indeed remain to be important factors in decision making in the Philippines, even if they are already abroad. What will be very dramatic will be the impending passage of a bill in Congress, which has already been approved in one of the houses, to allow voting by internet. Yes. And online voting, this has been approved in principle, and it's awaiting approval for both houses. Hopefully it might still be passed before 2013, but if not, certainly by 2016. And that will dramatically increase the number of registrants and the number of voters, because it becomes easier for them to register and to vote. One of the major drawbacks in our registration efforts was the fact that it is really very, very inconvenient for some Filipino overseas workers to register. It's really something extra for them to either just take time out to register, take leave from work, transport themselves from wherever they are to the embassies. There are limited numbers where they can register, and that's also why we decided to increase the frequency of our special teams going to certain locations to register people who are there, rather than them coming to the embassies and the consulate. So I think for 2016, with the passage of this electoral reform bill, on internet voting or voting online, this is really going to increase the number of registrants and the number of voters. Clearly, when we talk of votes in the hundreds of thousands, whether it is 200,000 or 300,000, this can make a big difference in the in landing in the winner's circle or not, especially for instance, for senator, or because it is a big chunk of votes, and if they can solidify that, it can really make a difference. It has not played a role yet in deciding who would win or who would lose, especially in the last two slots, for instance. But with the bigger numbers now, very clearly they will be able to make a difference. And the fact is that most of the candidates are already aware of this, and they have certain plans to address the overseas absentee voter, and it will figure more prominently, especially with the electoral reforms that are coming in to enable the overseas absentee voter to really exercise his or her right to